Hello there. This is Sarah Eber with Lincoln University Cooperative Extension. And I want to visit a little bit with you today before any of us think about starting any kind of physical activity program. It's really important that we focus on ways to exercise or be more physically active in a really safe manner. So first of all, it really is important that we just get some physical movement. Sometimes exercise is like a four-letter word and it makes everybody think, oh, treadmill or oh, this or oh, that. But any kind of physical movement is going to be positive for your health, positive for your mental health, positive for your mood, especially if you're moving into the winter months when it's a little darker or if you've had a bad day. Any kind of physical movement will make you feel better. So that could be dancing, that could be leg lifts while you watch TV, it could be lifting weights in a gym or even while you're watching TV. Even something as simple as lifting soup cans during the commercials, right? Yoga and Tai Chi are nice ways to pray and meditate and let your body move and stretch and strengthen at the same time, and even down to morning stretches. So physical activity doesn't have to be a treadmill or walking to the North Pole or riding an exercise bike, but it all adds up. So it's important to be sure that we're doing a little bit as much as possible. But before you start, you always want to check in with your doctor, especially if you have any kind of medical conditions that you want to be very careful with the type of exercise that you're doing. Some exercises can aggravate back problems or neck problems, or you may need to do some extra training on breathing properly so you don't put extra pressure on your eyes, especially if you're someone dealing with diabetes and eye or any kind of eye disease, that if you don't breathe properly, you can put too much pressure on those eyes and break some blood vessels. And so check with your doctor, check in with yourself, and then make a plan. Check in with your tools, get started, then check in with yourself throughout your program, and be sure as you move through your program that you set up some non-food rewards. So let's take some of those step by step. First thing you want to do once you've talked to your doctor and made sure that you're medically safe to exercise or what that exercise plan should look like so that it helps you meet your goals. What are your goals? So set some SMART goals. Anytime we start any kind of program, anytime you're trying to make any kind of change, you want to make sure that you're very specific about what you want to do. It's something that you can actually measure, and it's achievable and realistic, and it's relevant to what your health goals are or what your personal goals are, and it's time bound. So when you put all of those elements in a plan, they can help you measure your success and gauge your progress on the journey. Sometimes the journey is all that's important, but everyone needs some milestones along the way. So for example, if you're thinking about starting, let's say, a walk to the North Pole, you want to certainly think and plan your journey, right? Well, anytime you start any kind of physical activity program, you want to be very specific about what that is. So it might be something as simple as, I'm going to do jumping jacks or leg lifts during the commercials while I watch 1 hour of my favorite program. Okay, well, most hour programs can have up to 15 minutes of commercials. So you've already accrued 15 minutes of physical activity for the day. That's fabulous. I mean, the recommendation is that you get 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week for good health. So you're already almost there, especially if you're just getting started. And if you have some physical limitations, that won't stop you. But before you get started, plan a goal, make a plan, and set measurable goals on a short timeline so you can check. And if you don't achieve your goal, then go back and say, okay, what can I do to make that more realistic? Or maybe even before you start your goal, you might say, okay, how confident am I that I'm going to meet this goal? And on a scale of 1 to 10. And if it's less than 7, then you might want to think about if that's realistic or achievable for you. A goal doesn't have to take you to some great big height. A goal is a way to help you take small steps to get you there, and you'll get there just as fast. So remember, so I guess a good example. So let's say you want to start a walking program, but you're not doing any walking right now. So maybe you'd want to say, okay, so in the next week, I'm going to walk 15 minutes, 3 out of 7 days a week. And my confidence level is about a 7 for that because the weather's supposed to be good this next week. So you're only going to walk 15 minutes, 3 out of 7 days for the next week. Is that measurable? Is it specific to you and what you're doing? Yes, you're going to walk for 15 minutes. And is it measurable? Yes. 3 out of 7 days a week. Is that reasonable? Well, I do a lot of walking now, but as far as actual exercise, that's doable. Even if I just take a few walks around the building at my lunch hour. Is it relevant? Well, I really was hoping to tighten my belly or to breathe a little easier. So yes, that definitely will help. And is it time bound? Yep. I'm looking at just a week's time to see how I do. So that might be a good example of a SMART goal. Make sure you have all the tools you need. If you need a walking aid, use it. Do not be ashamed or afraid to use a cane or a walker, especially if you've worked with a doctor or physical therapist and that is the suggestion. Or if you just wake up one day and you don't maybe feel a little unsteady, but you still feel like walking, carry that with you and carry your cell phone in case you need to make a quick call. Make sure you have shoes that fit and wear socks. So this becomes really important when as you progress your walking program. Or if you are doing something like lifting weights, it'll be important that you have a shirt that doesn't chafe and allows your body the perspiration to breathe. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have the right clothes, the right shoes to make sure to prevent any additional injury. Okay, so if you're not sure what best shoes for you, a lot of places like Shoe Carnival or some of the higher end shoe stores can help measure your foot and tell you what kind of gait you have to make sure you get the right kind of tennis shoe so that you can really maintain comfort when you say, for example, when you're starting a walking program. Also, be very sure to dress for the weather. There's a lot of really good information about how to do this. But if you're going to walk in the heat, well, make sure you're wearing your sunscreen, you're drinking plenty of water, and ease into it. Take into consideration the temperature, the humidity, the time of the day when you're training, especially if it's in warmer months. You want to wear light colored, loosely fitting clothing and make sure you've got things to manage the heat like sunglasses and a little extra snack if you're going to be exercising for a long time and a hat. Now, if you're trying to dress for colder weather, don't let the cold weather stop you. All you got to do is dress for it, right? And it doesn't have to be expensive. It's just a matter of layering. So there's a little bit of information here about a base layer, which should wick moisture away from your body and help insulate. The mid layer is primarily insulation, but needs to be flexible and light to help hold on to the body heat. The outer shell should be waterproof and windproof, but a little bit breathable and tough. And if it's really cold, you've got to make sure you've got some extra layers on your extremities, especially your fingers and your toes. And that's where the right hiking shoe or the right socks come into play. So certainly go visit a place like Dick's Sporting Goods or a professional sporting goods store. Yes, they want to sell you things, but they also want to make sure that you're satisfied with what you buy so that you come back and buy more. And I will tell you that one of my favorite things in the winter is I get walking shoes for the winter that are waterproof and just a little bit bigger than my foot to allow for extra space for some good wool socks to keep my feet nice and warm. So then get started. And as you get started, you want to use the 5-step walking pattern. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we'll get to that in just a minute. But first of all, set up your plan, then start low and go slow. Remember, SMART goals, realistic, start low and go slow. If you overdo it right off the bat and hurt yourself, that can set you back way further than if you just took it a little slower and got there. So with that said, the 5-step walking pattern can be used whether you're walking, lifting weights, whatever kind of exercise you're doing. You want to, first of all, warm up. So move around a little bit, whether you're just moving upper body, kicking your feet in your chair, whatever you're doing for 2 to 5 minutes, just to warm things up. Most people pull muscles when they try to stretch on a cold muscle. So warm everything up good. Then you want to do some gentle stretches. So depending on what kind of exercise you're doing, choose the stretch that's appropriate for what you're exercising. If you're doing upper body work, you may want to do some shoulder stretches and some bicep stretches and always be aware of your breathing. If you're going to do any walking or biking or running, then you may want to stretch out your quads and your hamstrings. Check with your doctor or a physical therapist to find out what works best. You can also touch base with the Arthritis Foundation. The Central Missouri Arthritis Center has a lot of great tips and stretches and exercises, whether you have arthritis or not, to help you warm up and stretch safely. Then you want to move into your exercise, whether that is faster repetitions while you're with the soup cans, or you're walking or you're running, whatever it is you're going to do. And as you've set your plan, that would be your actual exercise. And after you've walked, say 15 minutes, and you want to give yourself another 5 minutes to cool down. So slow down a little bit. Or if you're doing upper body exercise, slow it down 2 to 5 minutes, cool down. Then do your stretches again. And remember to use the talk to check in with yourself 2 hours later. If you are sore, then you overdid it. Adjust your plan so that you don't overdo it. Likewise, keep some other things in mind. Checking in with yourself frequently. Keep your head up, your shoulders relaxed but not hunched. Breathe deeply from your diaphragm, right? Swing your arms naturally, or if you're walking or running, don't clench your hands unless you're holding on to soup cans, right? Take regular natural steps if you're walking or running. If you're in your chair, don't overextend your kicks. Some other tips are if you notice some severe pain, pressure, tightness in your chest, nausea, difficulty with your breathing, dizziness, severe trembling, lightheadedness, then that's serious. You need to stop and seek some medical help. Watch your exertion level and slow down if you start to have cramps or stitches in your side, your face gets too red, you suddenly start paling, getting really pale, or you start really sweating really hot, really quickly. If you notice that you're grimacing, or someone you're walking with says, hey, what's that look on your face? Or you feel extremely tired. And remember to use that 2-hour pain rule. If you've exercised and 2 hours later you're still sore, then you overdid it. Adjust your plan. You want to know your body's normal reaction to exercise. Go to the bathroom before you start. Drink plenty of fluids. Plan for contingencies. If it's icy, what are you going to do? It's probably not a safe thing to go out for a walk. So maybe you want to plan to come over to, there's a building close by where you work that has a treadmill. Or maybe you can, there's a local gym that would allow you to walk upstairs. And maybe your employer has some kind of fitness plan with the local YMCA or the local exercise facility. You could go there and walk in a controlled environment. And it is okay, if you're a woman and menstruating, it is okay to exercise. As a matter of fact, a lot of times it'll reduce the cramps and the pain. The other thing you want to make sure you do is checking in with yourself in terms of that exertion. So even if you're not having any of these extreme symptoms, ask yourself on this scale of, are you feeling no exertion at all, extremely light, very light, somewhat hard and heavy, very hard, extremely hard, or this is way over the top. You can check in by checking your heart rate and find your target heart rate and see if you're reaching that. Or you can also do something simple and easy like the talk test. So let's say you're about the peak of your exercise and you try to talk, or maybe you try to sing one of your favorite songs. And if you find yourself getting really out of breath when you do that, you probably want to slow down. So the talk test is a really simple, easy way to see if you're maybe overdoing it a little bit. The cool part is after you do this a while, you'll find you're able to sing without exerting. You're like, okay, now I can go faster. Now I can go further. So check in with yourself and stay safe. Set up some non-food rewards. Okay. So one of our favorites is retail therapy. All right. You go shopping, you treat yourself to some new clothes, or maybe you go buy yourself some flowers or some fun soap, or some good smelly soap or a candle. Maybe some pet therapy. If you don't have a pet, or maybe if you do have a pet, but you can't get any more and you want more, go volunteer at the local PetSmart or the Humane Society and handle the animals. Do that for yourself. It's very calming. It makes you feel good and you've helped somebody out. Or plan a fun movie night, something fun in the backyard or on the back porch, cuddled up in a blanket with a nice cup of hot tea, right? Non-food rewards. So set up rewards for yourself along the way and incentives to help keep you motivated. Look for formal programs in your area. In Central and Northern Missouri, we do have a program. We partner with the Central with Catholic Charities and Aging Best to offer Walk with Ease program. Arthritis Foundation offers a Tai Chi program. A lot of local gyms will work with Medicare and offer silver sneakers. State parks have a lot of really great trails. And you can even see here in front of us, we're out on the Katy Trail. And even in the wintertime with all those trees, it's really not too cold because the trees help buffer the wind and the rain. Or your local city parks often have really great green spaces that are treated in the wintertime and safe to walk on. So here's to your health. If you have any questions, please contact Sarah Eber at Lincoln University Cooperative Extension Human Nutrition and Health Program for more information. The numbers are on the screen. Connect with us on Facebook and our social media, and join in, share photos of your physical activity. Here's to our health.